Do you foresee him in the future at all as like a big money fight for you that can get you to the States and you guys pack an arena somewhere in the U.S. against David Benavidez in the future?
Yeah, for sure, man. If he wants to come up to Cruiserweight, bring it on. You know, Cruiserweight's my division. Yeah. You know, until I move out of it, hey.
What's up, bro? Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you, man. I have a lot of respect for you. You're a great fighter. I definitely want to get a fight in with you in the future. I seen Opetaia right there. It was good interaction. I have a lot of respect for Opetaia. I got no bad words for him, but I let him know that we're definitely going to get that fight in the future. You know, seeing him in person made me want that fight even more. So we got a lot of good things in the future.
Jai Opetaia, how important is it for you to get a chance to fight him without all the red tape in the way?
I mean, I think that's the biggest fight in the world, especially at this weight division. You know, and that's definitely a fight I want. Like I said, I'm not scared of nobody. This is Monstro's world. And if he wants to get that fight, we get that fight. I don't know why he went to Zuffa. We could have made this fight right after this one. You know, but now I don't know if he got stripped by the IBF or what it is. You know, I'm not going to go over there and fight for Zuffa.
The viewers, would you rather see David fight Zurdo or Opetaia? If you ask a Mexican fighter, they don't know who Opetaia is. You know, he still needs to develop a little bit more and grow his fan base. Does it make sense? So if we were fighting Opetaia, people would be complaining. We're fighting a nobody, about somebody that is not known.
It is not smart for David Benavidez to give Jai Opetaia a shot at his name right now because he's hot right now. You go up and fight Usyk while you're hot, and it makes sense. You can always come back down and fight Opetaia if you want to. You understand? If you lost to Usyk, Opetaia fight still there. If you lose to Opetaia, the Usyk fight gone. So be smart about this thing. Go take Usyk while the iron is hot. You beat Usyk, you don't know how to see Opetaia unless you want to come to heavyweight. But if you go fight Opetaia and lose, you don't get a chance to see Usyk, and you don't get a chance to make.
It's only the feet that can beat David, right? And possibly him getting caught because he doesn't have a great chin. His chin is good, but it isn't great. I've seen him hurt and down, right? But it's the person with the feet, so it's just like if he fights Better Beef, then he can catch Better Beef with all of the same shots. But if Better Beef land that shot, and he's an amazing short puncher, David gonna be in trouble, real trouble. He can pursue and he can stay on pursuit from one.
The most feared boogeyman in boxing has a problem, and for the first time in his career, he might actually be looking for a way out. We have watched David Benavidez terrorize division after division, breaking opponents down with a relentless volume of punches that looks less like a sporting contest and more like a systematic demolition. But just as he captured a brand new world title and positioned himself at the absolute peak of the Cruiserweight mountain, the narrative completely flipped. Instead of calling out the division's true king, Benavidez did something nobody expected. He started looking down at the exit doors, leaving the entire boxing world asking one massive question.
We've got a lot of fighters that have crossed another street into the Zuffa world, and in particular, Jai Opetaia. How important is it for you to get a chance to fight him without all the red tape in the way?
I mean, I think that's the biggest fight in the world, especially at this weight division. You know, and that's definitely a fight I want. Like I said, I'm not scared of nobody. This is Monstro's world. And if he wants to get that fight, we get that fight. I don't know why he went to Zuffa. We could have made this fight right after this one. You know, but now I don't know if he got stripped by the IBF or what it is. You know, I'm not going to go over there and fight for a Zuffa title. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be a great fight to make in the future. And, I mean, I respect Jai Opetaia a lot. He's a great fighter. And I think he has to come back over here to make these fights happen because, you know, we can't make no fights in Zuffa.
So that's what I wanted to secondarily ask was that, do you feel like fighters are losing their power by going over to Zuffa?
I think that... I mean, yeah, I think they definitely are losing their power. I mean, it's just a lot of politics in that. You know, I think Dana White has showed that he doesn't want to do fights with PBC, DAZN. And I don't want to even feel like, I don't want to sound like I'm disrespecting him, but that's just what it looks like from the outside. if we could come to an agreement and make a big...
The shift in strategy became glaringly obvious the exact moment the referee raised Benavidez's hand after his dominant victory over Gilberto "Zurdo" Ramirez. On paper, it was a historic night. Benavidez walked away with the WBA and WBO cruiserweight titles, proving that his power could travel north into a completely different weight class. But what happened during the post-fight media tour caught everyone off guard. Instead of screaming for a massive unification bout against the division's boogeyman, Jai Opetaia, Benavidez immediately pivoted. He spent his time talking about dropping back down to 175 pounds, offering catchweight fights, and chasing Dmitry Bivol. It was a bizarre immediate pivot that felt less like a celebration and more like a tactical distraction to keep the media from bringing up the one name he didn't want to hear.
So with Dmitry Bivol, he's a great fighter. He's probably one of the best fighters out there today, just because he's so technical. He has good speed. He has good power. But at the end of the day, that's only going to turn emotional on. You know what I mean? So I'm ready for this fight. Like I said, I've been calling for all these fights because I've told you guys I've been 100% ready for this. So what I was thinking, you know, right? How could we make a fight even bigger? I was thinking of maybe we do a catchweight at 190. We get the cruiserweight belts involved, the light heavyweight belts involved, and winner take all. Dimitri said he wanted to fight for the cruiserweight championships before his career was over. So maybe this is we can make a even bigger fight like that.
Can you still get to 75 though, if that's what he wants, to just defend his light heavyweight titles?
Yeah, I mean, I can still get to 175. You know, the thing about is that if I do end up fighting him, it's probably not going to be until like the end of the year. Or, you know, I mean, it won't be in September. But if I get to work now, you know what I mean, I could get down to that weight, you know, and that's exactly what I'm planning. I'm planning to already get to work. Because I know what's next after this, you know what I mean? So I know I have to be 100% ready. Just like I tell you guys, I trained 5 months. So if I'm going against Dmitry Bivol, I'm getting to work like probably next week. You know, I brought my family to vacation this week, but next week we're going to work.
There is a very clear, very terrifying reason why anyone in their right mind would think twice before signing a contract to fight Jai Opetaia. The Australian champion is not just another fighter holding a belt. He is a natural, brutal force of nature at cruiserweight, walking around as a massive, heavily muscled southpaw. Opetaia possesses a rare combination of explosive footwork and devastating single-shot knockout power. When you look at the trajectory of Benavidez's career, he started his journey as a super middleweight. Jumping all the way up to cruiserweight means carrying an extra 15 to 16 kilos of mass. While Benavidez looked fast against a naturally smaller, blown-up super middleweight like Ramirez, stepping into the ring with an absolute killer like Opetaia is a completely different universe. Insiders are openly warning that the sheer physical impact of Opetaia's left hand would be felt from the very first clean shot, changing Benavidez's world instantly.
I'm not as sure if he beat Opetaia because he's such a big guy and he's explosive, but I'm more comfortable picking David to beat him. The one guy that I think will give David some real trouble is Usyk at heavyweight. I don't know if he can beat Usyk, but the rest of the guys, I think he can beat him.
Okay. Yeah, because Opetaia said that he'll see him soon. Congratulations, champ. People have been talking about that matchup because he is a full, cruiserweight that's athletic. What do you, when you look at that matchup and you see that, yeah, I think David will beat him, but when you say I think, what makes you think that it cannot happen?
Well, Opetaia is big, fast, and explosive. And David has good defense, but he's not unhittable. So the fact that David started out at 168 and Opetaia started out at 200, Opetaia, I didn't think Zurdo could do anything with David because he's just too slow getting off, man. You know what I mean? Like, everything is not about speed, man, but when the speed difference is that big, you got to have some kind of like masterful timing or jab or something to offset that. He's just too slow. Opetaia not slow like that. He's twitchy, he's fast, and he's explosive. And David gonna have to be careful. That ball hit you with a left hand, he can knock you out. And he's a southpaw, so he'll have some built-in advantages. He's just it's not a skill thing. He's a different level athlete than what Zurdo is. And he's young, and he's mean, and he's gonna be fighting hard. I think David might know a little bit too much for him. I think he might be a little bit too skillful for him and be a little bit too slick. But his raw athleticism and punching power is something David gonna have to beat.
Tension reached a boiling point when Benavidez was asked directly why a unification fight wasn't on the immediate horizon. His response sent shockwaves through the hardcore boxing community and immediately ignited a massive firestorm on Reddit and Twitter. Benavidez claimed that the biggest fight in the world was being held back entirely by promotional contracts, pointing his finger at Zuffa Boxing. He stated that he had no interest in playing into their political games or fighting for a Zuffa title.
David Benavidez beats Bivol. David Benavidez beat Jai Opetaia. Hell yeah, he beat Opetaia. Oh, I'ma double down. He gonna beat Opetaia. I double down on that one. He gonna beat Opetaia. See, Opetaia got good feet. Yeah, he can box, but he can be drugged into a fight. And if you know anything about David Benavidez, just like he did with Ramirez ass, he's the one of those guys that's gonna test your heart. He gonna test what you have in here. And once he go to Jai's ass and he tests what he has in here, Jai gonna lose his shit. Jai ain't gonna be boxing and moving around. Jai gonna be looking to fight. Jai gonna get tired too. Yeah, because Jai, if you look at the history of Jai Opetaia, he get tired. Yes, he gets tired. Period. And I stand on that. So, but when we talking about Usyk now, okay? Come on now. Styles make fights. I know, I get it. I'm on the hype train too. I've always liked David. Yes, I've been critical of David and his footwork. And Usyk is one of those guys that can make him pay for what David Benavidez liked.
But fans weren't buying the excuse. Across social media, the backlash was instant. Hardcore boxing purists heavily criticized the champion, accusing him of hiding behind corporate armor and using promotional politics as a convenient shield to duck a fight that could potentially end his undefeated streak.
I'm not as sure if he beat Opetaia because he's such a big guy and he's explosive, but I'm more comfortable picking David to beat him. The one guy that I think will give David some real trouble is Usyk at heavyweight. I don't know if he can beat Usyk, but the rest of the guys, I think he can beat him.
Okay. Yeah, because Opetaia said that he'll see him soon. Congratulations, champ. People have been talking about that matchup because he is a full, cruiserweight that's athletic. What do you, when you look at that matchup and you see that, yeah, I think David will beat him, but when you say I think, what makes you think that it cannot happen?
Well, Opetaia is big, fast, and explosive. And David has good defense, but he's not unhittable. So the fact that David started out at 168 and Opetaia started out at 200, Opetaia, I didn't think Zurdo could do anything with David because he's just too slow getting off, man. You know what I mean? Like, everything is not about speed, man. But when the speed difference is that big, you got to have some kind of like masterful timing or jab or something to offset that. He's just too slow. Opetaia not slow like that. He's twitchy, he's fast, and he's explosive. And David gonna have to be careful. That ball hit you with a left hand, he can knock you out. And he's a southpaw, so he'll have some built-in advantages. He's just it's not a skill thing. He's a different level athlete than what El Zurdo is. And he's young, and he's mean, and he's gonna be fighting hard. I think David might know a little bit too much for him. I think he might be a little bit too skillful for him and be a little bit too slick. But his raw athleticism and punching power is something David gonna have to be careful with. Remember the Morrell fight where David was winning rounds, but Morrell was shaking David up because he was big and he was strong and he was like physical with him. He was shaking David up with some punches, if you remember that fight. It wasn't a thing where Morrell was winning more rounds than he was, but it was like a danger, like, yo, I just can't do what I want to do with this guy because he's so big and he's so strong and he's fighting back. Well, Opetaia is bigger than Morrell and he's a little better.
A little better, huh?
Yeah, I think he's a little bit better than Morrell.
Okay.
Yep. Not a lot, but I think he's a little better. And he's 25 pounds bigger.
Yeah. I see the side.
Beyond the promotional drama, top boxing trainers and analysts are starting to point out a massive tactical flaw that makes this matchup a nightmare for Benavidez. The Mexican monster has built his legendary reputation on an upright, high-volume, forward-pressing style. He loves to get in his opponent's face, find a rhythm, and unleash blistering 6 to 7 punch combinations that completely overwhelm their defense. But former champions are warning that this exact style leaves him wide open to a tactical disaster.
He squares up. And as you saw, yes, he can make it work for himself. Yes. You know, dipping, getting outside, body shot here, dipping this way, body shot, you know, putting them motorboat combinations on his ass, putting them combinations on his opponent, you know. Hey, single right hand, straight left hook. Oh, David is sweet. Them fast ass hands, he is sweet with it. But when we talking about a bigger fighter, somebody's been reigning at heavyweight, somebody that's has to be perfect or had to be perfect when he faced those bigger champions like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Had to be perfect now. Think about that, because all it takes in the heavyweight division is one shot. That's all it takes. And he boxing his way to victory against those guys, top tier heavyweights that are bigger than he is. Come on now. Come on. I get it. He's hitting 40 years old. I understand it. You know, he's getting a lot older, getting long in the tooth. I understand that. Father Time, whatever, is undefeated. But this is a different breed of animal right here, man. Usyk is like Michael Jordan. Usyk is like Terrence Crawford. Usyk is, he's from that cloth. Okay? He's from that damn cloth. So, you know, let's not say that David ain't from that cloth either. However, it's a huge size difference. I think skill for skill, ability for ability. David got skills. He does. But Usyk, he got this. This is where I think he beats David. He gonna beat David with this, right? Oh yeah, and he's the bigger fighter at 6'4", right? With a 78-inch reach. You know, David's sitting around 6.
Because Benavidez stands so tall and presses forward so aggressively, his chin is a permanent target for an elite-level southpaw. Opetaia thrives on exactly this kind of pressure, using his superior footwork to pivot off angles and deliver explosive counters. Analysts believe Benavidez's signature style would essentially map out his own downfall, putting him directly in the firing line of a historic puncher.
That's the fight that I want to see. Jai has been the man at that weight class for a very long time. And now you got a new player in the division with a hot name and whose stock and whose star power is only rising. That's the fight I believe that needs to be made at the cruiserweight division. We'd love to see Bivol, but for some reason, the light heavyweight division just is not as appealing to me right now for David Benavidez. And again, I'm not sure that that's the right weight for him to fight, being that he's fought this weight and look the way that he did. I think it's cruiserweight or maybe go up and fight Oleksandr Usyk.
Since everybody's making these business decisions, Dre, and everybody's doing things the business way, right? It is not smart for David Benavidez to give Jai Opetaia a shot at his name right now because he's hot right now. You go up and fight Usyk while you're hot, and it makes sense. You can always come back down and fight Opetaia if you want to. You understand? If you lost to Usyk, Opetaia fight's still there. If you lose to Opetaia, Usyk fight gone. So be smart about this thing. Go take Usyk while the iron is hot. You beat Usyk, you don't know how to see Opetaia unless he want to come to heavyweight. But if you go fight Opetaia and lose, you don't get a chance to see Usyk, and you don't get a chance to make history. That's crazy. You're on a rail right now to do something that nobody ever done before. I went middleweight, super middleweight, light heavy, because I was doing what Bob Fitzsimmons, well, I thought what Bob Fitzsimmons did. I didn't stop at cruiser because there was nobody there for me to stop at, and I really didn't care for the weight class. Now he can go super middleweight, light heavyweight, cruiser, heavy. Go for the, go, like they say, go for the whole thing if you're going to go for it. Don't waste time with these other guys yet. While you on this roll, go see Usyk. Don't play with second. Why would you play with a guy who's just as dangerous as Usyk, not as known as Usyk, not going to bring you as much money as Usyk, when you can just go straight to Usyk? That's kind of crazy. That's how boxing misses out on big fights. They go make these other small fights that they think are safe, okay fights, and then those small fights destroy the...
Of course, if you ask anyone inside Benavidez's inner circle, they will tell you a completely different story. The deflection coming out of his camp has been loud, aggressive, and incredibly defensive. Jose Benavidez Sr. and the rest of the team have completely dismissed Opetaia's entire resume, publicly labeling the Australian champion as trash. In heated media clips, they claimed that Opetaia doesn't actually have a chin and insisted that Benavidez would put him to sleep within the very first round. But to the trained eye, this level of intense overcompensation feels incredibly transparent. When a camp goes that far out of their way to insult an undefeated champion rather than demanding the fight happen, it usually means they are trying to lower his value to justify why they are looking elsewhere.
Last one, this Opetaia stuff. Do you see Zurdo as a more difficult fighter than Jai Opetaia?
Of course, like I said, I'm going to give the respect to Zurdo Ramirez because he's a two-time world champion. He was a champion at 168 also. We've known Zurdo Ramirez for a long time. He's been on the on those big cards, Opetaia just came and it's like what he wants, I want this, I want that, he's mad because Zurdo didn't fight him. He's mad because we're not fighting him. Shit, at one point we were like that. We wanted to fight everybody, but it just takes time, You gotta really, for example, I'm gonna ask the viewers, would you rather see David fight Zurdo or Opetaia? If you ask a Mexican fighter, they don't know who Opetaia is. He still needs to develop a little bit more and grow his fan base. Does it make sense? So if we were fighting Opetaia, people would be complaining. We're fighting a nobody, about somebody that is not known. The boxing world knows who he is, because at the end of the day, for Mexicans, the Mexicans know Opetaia. So what do you think is a better fight, Opetaia or Zurdo? Of course it's going to be Zurdo, because Zurdo's a Mexican fighter, and he's been in the game for more time.
Was Jai, I'm not saying is the favorite, but when I hear David going to 200 and fighting Jai Opetaia, I'm like, ooh. So is it, you say 50-50 and you don't have to lean or predict, but what is it that, what makes it dangerous for David? Because I know that Jai can't sit in front of David all night, but if David can't really plan or get him situated, is it one of those nights where we're going to see a masterclass performance?
If anybody, yes. So let's stick to the Jai Opetaia and David Benavidez, right? If Jai can use his feet collectively, stay out the way. I've seen fights with him where he lasts a whole 12 rounds continually moving after getting dropped or hurt. You know what I'm saying? So he has the ability with his legs, right? If you can continually make David have to reach for you because he can't simply walk to you and get the shots off, then he's going to have a problem. Why? Because he's going to take chances, right? Now, Jai doesn't have the jab that I want him to have, and that's really going to set up the big shots because it blinds a lot of, you got to blind him with that jab. Keep that jab in his face, making it hard for him to see the shots coming after. And if you can keep that distance and cause him to have to take chances to land those shots, then David is going to have the problem. So Jai has the feet. He has the ability. He put the right game plan together, he's going to beat David. If he doesn't put the right game plan together, David's going to beat him, right? Both of these guys go for 12 rounds strong. I'm amazed by David Benavidez's energy, man. His last fight against Anthony, I'm just like, man, this dude is like a damn robot. Damn, this boy can go. He is full of energy, man. But he's technically flawed. David has no feet whatsoever. Period, point blank, man. And don't need him.
That alternative route is exactly what Benavidez seems to be executing right now. By shifting his entire focus toward a massive legacy fight with Dmitry Bivol, he gets to stay in the headlines for chasing greatness without ever having to risk the physical damage of a true cruiserweight. Even Bivol's trainer recently stepped into the media circus, telling Benavidez to stop running his mouth and actually sign a contract to fight at light heavyweight. To the casual observer, chasing a technical mastermind like Bivol looks incredibly brave, but boxing insiders see it as a brilliantly calculated business move. Fighting Bivol offers an astronomical payday and a legacy-defining moment, all while remaining a far safer physical matchup than standing in the pocket with a 200-pound monster who has previously fought 12 rounds with a jaw broken in 2 places.
Think about it. Bivol beat Canelo dominated Canelo.
Yeah.
He beat Zurdo, if I recall, right? That was, I think he dominated Zurdo too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know if we talk about him enough, maybe because he's not a U.S. fighter, but that guy's tough to beat.
Oh, yeah. Footwork is cold. Jab is cold, you know. Very, very, you know, simplicity, man. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Fundamentals, beautiful thing. Distance control is a beautiful thing. You know, he uses at a high guard very well. His in and out movement, you know, his combinations, they feast flows. Yeah, he's very difficult and got a high boxing IQ. So he's seen it all. And, you know, he's been, man, look, anybody that can deal with the pressure and the punching power of a better BF, bro, I mean, you damn good, you know, but you got to be a master at your craft to be able to deal with that type of punching power, you know. And you know, I'm gonna give Benavidez some credit. He does have a little boxing IQ too. He got an IQ, and he's not dumb, you know. But yeah, and he beat him, endured what he dished out. Yeah. Bivol.
Ultimately, we are watching a high-stakes game of chess, where one wrong move can permanently shatter a fighter's aura of invincibility. David Benavidez has a choice to make, and the clock is ticking. He can continue to call out the smaller technicians at light heavyweight while using promotional politics to avoid the undisputed cruiserweight throne. It might protect his undefeated record, and it might keep the money rolling in. But the question marks aren't going away. If he walks away from the cruiserweight division without ever testing his power against its ultimate ruler, it will remain a permanent stain on his narrative. Is protecting the brand of the Mexican monster a genius business decision, or will the history books always remember him as the man who blinked when Jai Opetaia called his name? Let me know your opinion in the comments. That's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.